Welcome to Training Tuesday, and I am going to be going over my top 12 tips for marketing on social media. So my first tip is find the right platforms for you. There's so many out there just now. Obviously, you've got the obvious ones like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, but there's many more as well, Pinterest, YouTube, everything else. My suggestion is that you pick the ones that are right for you. So before you even choose a platform, you need to know who your audience are and where are they, because that's where you should be posting. Now, it might be that you have different audiences in different platforms, and that's absolutely fine. For example, myself, we used to have Twitter. We don't have any audience, or we weren't getting any clientele from it, so we came off of that. A lot of our clients do use it for their businesses, but they wouldn't find us on there. So we came off of Twitter. We use LinkedIn and Instagram. We are on Facebook, although we don't get a lot from it. We're on it predominantly because we want to be part of groups like this. However, we have different clientele on Instagram and on LinkedIn. So that's the two platforms that we use. So don't feel the need to be on every platform. Do some research as to where your audience are and choose the right ones for you. Top tip number 2, and these are in no order, is engage. So social media is aptly named. It is social. You should be using it for fun as well. I think as business owners, we really do fall into the trap of, right, it's something we need to get done. We need to be doing this marketing. We need to get our posts out. And we stop enjoying it. We stop actually engaging and building relationships. And that is really important for the algorithm, for building your following, for building your engagement, and for building your paid customers. At the end of the day, we're all on social predominantly with our businesses. For different reasons, but mainly for to grow your brand awareness, to get more customers, to sell more products. So by engaging, you are building that relationship. It's very rare for a business like ourselves to be able to just, particularly service businesses, that somebody just goes, that's what they do, I'll buy straight away from them. People research, people look into competitors, they look at different people. So if you're building a relationship with somebody, you will become their go-to. So make sure that you're engaging on your platforms. It also helps when you've made the effort to put a post out for that visibility to be there as well. And it really does help the visibility. Number 3 is, what is the purpose? Why are you even on social media? It's really important that you know the purpose of being on the platforms. You would know the purpose of any other marketing activity that you do. So why are you actually on each of the platforms? And when you know why you're on it, you know what you want to get out of it. So like I said before, if you're on social media because you want to get as many people as possible to go to your website, then that means you can track it. You can see how many people is going to the website from your social media. If you don't have a purpose and you don't know why you're on social media, you can't track if what you're doing is actually working. You also need to know what the purpose is in order to pick the right platforms. So if your purpose is for people to link up with you to do collaborations, and you are on Twitter, but you're only tweeting, you're not engaging, then you're not going to be able to find those people. LinkedIn, brilliant for collaborations. Instagram can be really good for collaborations. Groups within Facebook, great for collaborations. You need to know what your purpose is so that you can then direct everything else around it. Use automations and scheduling is number 4. So automations is things like if you get a message and it will pop back with another message saying contact me here or I'll be in touch, etc. It could be a pop-up with frequently asked questions that help give answers out as well. So automations are really good if you know you're not going to get back to somebody instantly. For instance, we very rarely use our Facebook. So we have an automated message there saying we will check the message, however it's urgent, drop us an email or catch us on another platform. We don't have it on Instagram because of people liking stories and everything. We do a lot on stories. We tried it out on LinkedIn, but it did encourage the spammers to reply a bit quicker. So automations can be really good if you are on a platform or you're not very good at getting back to people, or it's going to be 24 hours. People do these days expect instant replies, which isn't always doable. So your automations will allow you to manage that as well. And then scheduling is, if you can pre-prep a lot of posts and schedule them, it means that you're not having to be on there every day thinking of a post and getting it out there. It means if you're busy or you're sick or you have something on, you don't have to worry about getting a post out there that day. Scheduling also makes you think in advance, and it tends to help have really good quality thought out posts. Number 5, treat your platforms differently depending on your customers. So, like I said before, our LinkedIn and Instagram customers are very different. So while we put out the same posts on each of the platforms, we will adapt the wording, we'll adapt what we share. We may just take some, like the daily updates we do, we probably wouldn't do onto LinkedIn, but we'll do it onto Instagram or potentially Facebook as well. So you have to be aware of where your audience is and who they are, and is it the same person? Do you need to adapt your wording and what you're saying based on your audiences? Okay, number 6, emojis. So I love an emoji. I think emojis are not, I mean, obviously if you use the poo emoji, it's probably not going to go down great on a lot of things like LinkedIn, etc. If you are an accountant or a lawyer or that kind of professional service, it might not be what people expect to see. So there's some obviously you want to avoid. However, emojis are great in your post to portray emotion and personality. It really helps to break up text as well. It makes things much easier to read, and it stops the scroll and adds a little bit of colour to your post. So don't be scared of using emojis. Authenticity is number 7, and this is a really important one because the easiest thing you can be is yourself. And if you try to be somebody different, if you try and be what you think people want, or you have a different personality on social that you do face to face, then there's that massive disconnect and breaking of trust when they actually meet you face to face. I used to work with a lot of influencers, and this is not a thing against influencers. There's a lot of really good ones who are brilliant for the right businesses, but there's one who I love, this person on Instagram. I really like their content, I like their chat, I like their personality, but I have met this person 3 times and it's a completely different person face to face. I cannot get a word out with this person, whereas they're so bubbly and nice and sociable and so on social. So for me, I find it really odd. I find it really weird. I think there's a real massive disconnect there. I feel like it's a bit of a fraud. So authenticity is really, really important, and you can maintain it, and you can maintain that consistency, because the easiest thing to be is yourself. You can enjoy being you, and at the end of the day, people buy from people. So if you if you meet somebody, if somebody sees you on social and you're the same person they met face to face, or they see you on social and they really click with you, they're more likely to get in touch. Okay, number 8, consistency. So this comes up a lot. On social, there's not one magic trick to social, but consistency is a really key factor to take into account. So don't be posting 5 times this week, twice next week, nothing the week after, 4 the week after that. Be consistent. I always say to people, do you know what? If you can only commit to doing 2 posts a week, then do those 2 posts a week. But stick to doing those 2 posts a week, because that will allow consistency. It helps the algorithm, it helps your followers. And one client does a Friday post every Friday, obviously, on his LinkedIn instead of his business LinkedIn, but we share it onto the business page, and it's great. It's so funny, and it's filled with his personality. And people look forward to it every Friday. So when you're on holiday, you don't get your Friday laugh. So people do need that consistency as well as the algorithm. And number 9 is be visually appealing. Now, it might sound a little, I don't know, vain, but actually being visually appealing is good for multiple reasons. One, when it comes to branding, you want a recognizable brand to be built, and having your branding, colors, logo, designs up there really helps with people visually going, oh, that's so and so, have a look at that. Builds that trust and following as well, and that loyalty. Also, there's thousands, millions of posts across platforms every single day. You need to be visually appealing to stop somebody's scroll to get their attention. So very rarely will I do a post that is solely text. The only place I found that really works for me is on LinkedIn. Any other platform, I always put an image. Sometimes just the image, sometimes the video, sometimes it'll have text, and it depends on what you're doing. But being visually appealing on social will help to stop people scroll. Number 10, engagement over followers. So don't be scared to step outside the box of having to get hundreds and thousands of followers. You want to know, again, it goes back to your purpose of why you're on social. Now, we work with some charities who's not going to have much engagement. Some of the posts and the support that we're doing on their socials is to allow the people who need that support to see it and access it. Some of the stories that we tell on their platforms, it's not going to get likes or comments because it's hard to read, it's hard stories. But what we want to know is the reach. We want to know what is, who's seen it, is it the right people that's seen it? So for that, it's not about the number of followers, it's about the right type of engagement, the right visibility. We had another client who, for them, it was all about the engagement. They wanted people to engage on their posts. Now, it didn't matter to them the number of people they had, as long as the audience they did have was highly engaged. And it comes again to this purpose. What is it you want from your social? You might not need 1,000 people to be following you if you want 10 people to go to your website. If you just want the visibility of a massive brand, to look a massive brand, then yeah, okay, you want to build up your followers. By the end of the day, will 1 million followers from across the world buy your product or your service? They might not. You need to work out what the purpose is. A story that a lot of you probably already heard is we worked with a previous client, but they had been doing, with a London cosmetic company, a tour around the UK and all the major cities. And they had asked this person to get an influencer of 1 million plus followers in each of the cities to help sell tickets to this event. Thinking that 1 million followers, then obviously they're going to sell tickets. They did not sell any tickets to the events via the influencers because they'd got to the point where they were so big that their following were only engaged in pictures of what they were doing at the time. They weren't in the right geographical area. They weren't actually going to buy products off them. Now, those influencers will be able to sell certain products, but it wasn't this. So it just shows you those followers aren't always important. So again, go back to your purpose, find out what it is for on your socials, and you'll probably find that actually having millions of followers may not help you achieve the purpose that you need. Number 11 is be social. So kind of links in with number 2 on engage. But you have to remember that social media platforms are aptly named. It is social. So have fun on it. You can chat to people, you can leave comments, you can create relationships, like working relationships and friendships on there. So writing CD. But be social. Like if you like something, comment on something. If you like the work that somebody's done, or you appreciate the work somebody's put into something, like it, save it, share it. Be social. Remember, it costs you nothing to do that. And you know yourself the difference it makes for your business. My final point is analytics. Analytics is probably one of the most important things for me on social media, and it probably takes into account all the other tips that I've given. So without analytics, you cannot measure how you're doing, if you're going to reach the purpose of you being social media in the first place. So I'm not going to go into analytics on this training. However, have a look at analytics, okay? Work out what ones it is that you need to be looking at to ensure that you can see if you're meeting your goals and meeting your purpose. I think as well, sometimes people can go, don't want to look at it because they don't like to see the red or the minus. But if that's not the part that matters to you, if that's not the part that's going to reach your goals, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't, not every part matters. It's what matters to you. So have a look at the analytics. If it's about engagement, have a look and see how your engagement is doing. Have a look at each individual post and see what gets the most engagement. If there's repeatedly a type of post that you're doing that gets no engagement, then stop doing them. Switch it up with something else. Do more of the ones that are getting engagement. So again, it's really easy to look at what your purpose is and look at your analytics and see if that's matching up. So that is my 12 top tips on social media. I could sit and talk to you about social media all day, every day. However, I'm going to keep it short and sharp today. And next month, into June, so it will be the 20th of June, I'm going to do my top tips on business networking. So I'll be predominantly looking at how to get started in networking, how to actually walk into a networking event, and a few hints and tips for people who are nervous about it. I'll look at little tools you can use to help with networking. Where do you find networking? What is the best networking to go to? Or not necessarily the best networking, but the different networkings out there. And also how you can use the likes of LinkedIn to help with networking as well. So that is in June the 20th. Tune back in then if you get any questions or want to delve deeper into this training, then just drop me a message. And if you're at all interested in learning more about collaborations, we have a free training on Thursday, and I'll pop the link into this as well. But have a nice day.